just a few things I wanted to point out. Um, the training thing or the physical aspect of it for somebody who's been in a chronic situation and is recovering.
Mm-hmm.
Um, what kind of advice do you have? Like someone who's been in a chronic situation and is in recovery mode, and I'm quite I wouldn't I'm not fit at all. Trying to get back to the gym after such a situation.
Mm-hmm.
It's apart from the fact that it's scary, you can't go back to your usual routine again.
Yeah.
You don't want to
No.
overstress in that situation again. You know, um, I'm kind of scared to go into a gym right now.
Okay.
I want
So
to get my routines back, get all my protocols back in place and all. But sometimes you can't do that, and that obviously depresses you, affects your mental health, and does all those kind of crazy things to you.
sure, sure.
How do you go from there?
Right. So the first thing I'd recommend is you get clearance from your medical professional, doctor, or whoever is your therapist to confirm you can go back into the gym. That's the first step.
Yeah,
The second step
yeah,
is get a specialized program designed for you by someone who specializes in rehab. So I've trained people with injuries. I've trained people who've had. I've got a client who's in his 70s has had brain surgery. So I actually had to do a bit more research about training him. So when you go back into the gym, make sure you have clearance from a medical professional and make sure you've got a fitness professional who's actually qualified to give you a program. What you don't want to do is go in there on your own and start from scratch. The other thing to factor in is, as much as we all like to think we're superhuman, we're in our 50s now. So unless you've continually trained, as in haven't broken the process or the program at all, you need to start from scratch and accept that you're not in your 20s anymore. That's the biggest thing to remember. Don't train like you did 20, 30 years ago, even 10 years ago. You need to start from scratch. Just pretend you're 15 again and don't know what you're doing. And get guidance from a fitness professional before you, from a medical professional before you do anything. Okay. I think the key thing here, Wale, is I'm actually pleased to hear that you're planning on doing that. And don't get overwhelmed by the
yeah.
fact that you, sorry?
And I am planning on doing it. I'm just scared to step because the thing is,
No, no.
when you're used to some sort of way of doing things, and
Mm.
then you get this break because of a health issue.
Health
You
reasons,
when you get back
yeah.
in there, you want to go back to where it is. I'm so scared to step into a gym right now, and
No, no. So,
I'm actually not
so
supposed
get,
to exert myself the way I used to. And yes, I have a
well,
cardiologist and
that's my
a
point.
fitness trainer that
Yeah.
gives me advice, but they tell me, okay, obviously I'm the one who's going to feel the grind and all, but what they're telling me is, look, while you take it easy, you can just like what you said, it can be the usual thingy.
No,
If
you,
you're
yeah,
doing this, now you have to do this. If you're doing that, now you have to do this. And
yeah.
the thing is, I'm just about to just give it up all the way, just forget the whole thing and just grow a
No,
belly
no, no.
fat. And but
No, you
you
can't do
can
that.
do that, I can.
You can't do that. So I'll come back to my client who I use him as a fantastic example. I'll put my video on actually because Olumide's done that. Um, one sec. Right, so I'll give you the classic example of my client who's 70. This was August 2022. Out of nowhere, he had this massive headache. It turned out that he needed brain surgery. He had brain surgery, and within 3 months, he was back with me. So I had to do some research on how to train him after brain surgery. The one thing I didn't want to do was put him back into the original program he was doing before and then put him at risk. So coming back to my point about get clearance from your health professional and then find a fitness professional who knows how to deal with what you're coming out of. The last thing you want to do is go in on your own and make matters worse. And I totally understand the point you're making about having to go back into the gym and find it daunting. At the end of 2022, I had surgery on this hand and I almost lost this finger. And the one thing they said to me was take 6 months out. Me being stubborn and knowing what I'm doing, I took 2 months out. Even the 2 months was difficult to get back into the gym. But the one thing that helped was everyone who saw me welcomed me back into the gym and knew that I was almost starting from 40, 50%. And what you'll find with any good gym is the members will be as supportive as is required. It's amazing amount of support you get from very good gyms. A lot of people have this misconception that everyone in there's got an ego, everyone in there's watching what you're doing. Everyone's in there to better themselves, mentally and physically. So don't feel daunted at all. And if you need help, ask. There is always someone in any gym. I've trained in gyms in Africa, America, and in this continent. And everywhere I've looked, if I need help, if I'm trying to lift something that's too heavy, someone will be there to help you. It will amaze you what the human race is like in that arena. It is amazing. So don't feel daunted by going back into a gym. Don't ever let that be an issue. Walk in there, do your thing. If you need help, ask for help before and while you're in the gym. I hope that's clear enough for you, Wally. Don't
Well,
ever.
I hear you. I hear you more honestly. It's
Yeah,
encouraging when you say, but
yeah,
the main issue right now is gathering up the courage to step back into that gym.
yeah.
I'm going to do it eventually, but need the courage to do it.
Wally, all I needed to hear you say is, "I'm going to do it eventually."
No, I'm going to
Because
do it eventually. Honestly,
good.
I am going to do
That's
it
all I
eventually.
need to hear, because I always use my story because it's relevant to a lot of these situations. At the age
Mm,
of 35, I had a heart scare. I ran up the stairs in my house and I blacked out at the age of 35. At the age of
right.
37, I said, I have to do something. At the age of
Mm,
40, I'd lost 45 kilos, 7.5 stone. Yep. At the age of
yeah.
40. Yep. And I did all that because I realized that I needed to do something. And the first day I went into that gym, I thought I was going to die. I'm not exaggerating, because I went in there and
Mm,
tried to do too much. But little by little, I started realizing that this is a process that's going to take time. So what you don't want to do is force the process. Take your time, ask for help, like I said, if you need to, and take it from there. But whatever you do not change your mind about going back into the gym. Whether it's a gym or you buy stuff to use at home yourself, or you train in the park, whatever it is, get back to exercise, get back to training. Like I said before, training and exercise are two different things. And the most important
true.
part is weight bearing exercises, resistance training, weight training, because as we get older, the wear and tear we've put our bodies through has put a lot of strain on our joints, on our bones, and things like
Mm.
osteoporosis become an issue. So what you want to do is help your Yeah, so what you want to do is help your skeleton, help your joints by building the muscles around them and taking the pressure away from your joints and your bones, which is where weight training comes in. When you
Mm.
do cardio, especially at our age, unless you're someone like Jite who runs marathons or whoever else it is, you have to be very careful. You have to stick to cardio on the basis of you don't put your body through too much duress. So I'll give you an example of
Mm.
how I train. I've cultivated this over the last 15 years. I go into a gym, I do my weights, and then I do my cardio. I don't run. That's the biggest mistake I made when I was in my 30s. I ran, I played squash. I did something called insanity, which the clue is in the name of the exercise, insanity. The wear and tear on my body, I still feel it now, is ridiculous. So I always say to people, this is the one thing we don't do. Learn to swim,
Yeah.
walk, or go on a cross trainer. But whatever you do, don't run. Especially for someone of you who's coming back from a major cardiac issue. You don't want to put your body through that kind of impact. What you want to do is do
In fact,
weight training,
I,
and sorry,
I
go on.
did a lot of running, a lot of cardio, played a lot
Yeah,
of squash,
yeah,
and all that. I figured I was building a resistance to, all those chronic things. When you are able to burn a lot of calories,
yeah.
you feel lighter. Your sugar levels are good, and
Mhm.
unfortunately, you were right. It was madness.
It's
It
madness
was
because
madness.
there's one thing someone told me many years ago. Running and squash are things you do when you're fit. You don't do them to get fit. Does that make sense?
Yes, you're right. It is a huge mistake that a lot of us make.
Yeah.
We
We've got
think
this
we're trying to get
misconception that
fit,
I want
not
to
when
lose
we are
weight.
fit.
yeah, I want to lose weight. I need to burn as many calories as possible. I totally understand that. However, give yourself time to,
Possible, yes.
yeah, to burn the calories. So instead of running, again, I'll give it, coming back to, I use my clients as an example just to prove my point. I have a client who I trained to do the London Marathon. I didn't know anything about marathon training until I trained this woman. She had 6 different pairs of shoes, one for grass, one for terrain, one for road, one for indoor training, one for treadmill running, whatever. Most people would just go to Sports
Mm,
Direct and buy the cheapest shoes they can find and go and start running on the road. That is so
mm.
dangerous. It's ridiculous. But like you said, you're trying to burn calories, so you go for the easiest fix, the cheapest one, which is just run. And there's a
Run,
lot of
yes.
science behind it because over time, the damage to your body is just ridiculous. So I always legislate weight training and small bits of cardio, increase the cardio bit by bit at low
Mm,
impact. Yeah. And especially in your case
yeah.
where you're in a cardiac arrest, a cardiac issue, you want to build up
Mm,
muscles and do the cardio as a side, as a side, as a side part of your program. Again, if you
mm,
go into professional, they'll tell you all this.
mm.
Okay. I come back to my initial point. Well done for thinking about going back into the gym. Don't shy away from that. Just take your time. And it will amaze you again. People will help. No one is watching anyone. It's I mean, we're at that age now that do we really care when people are looking at us? Come on. We've
Well, you
been
know, I
on
was,
we've been on this earth for 5 decades. Come on. There's no vanity here. We're not youngsters anymore. You know, so we
I
should be.
agree. I agree totally. In fact, you see, it's that thinking that is actually not making me want to go back in there. That,
You
you
need
know
to
what,
get rid
who
of
the
it.
hell is looking at me anyway? I mean,
Nobody's looking at you. Trust me.
no, no
I
one's
mean,
looking at me.
listen,
I do not have to grow any more muscles anywhere. I do not have to impress anyone anymore.
exactly.
I just have to, I
Who's
just
trying to
have to, I just have to get back on my feet, get my routines back in place, and that's it.
listen?
That's it.
There's a video that's going to come up on one of my feeds in the next few days, and I actually ask the question: who is your competition?
You are your competition.
Exactly. You look in the
Yeah,
mirror, you can make eye contact with that person in the mirror and say, "Do you know what? You've become the
yeah,
strongest, fittest, hardest working version of yourself possible. You're winning."
yeah. True.
It's that simple.
True.
I ask people this when I see people in the gym. My first question is, how are you doing? Are you winning? Some people don't understand that question. Are you winning? The battle is against yourself, no one else.
True. Yeah, you your own competition, really.
Exactly. If you can get out of bed, put your shoes on. I mean, some of us, things click and groan and whatever when we do it every morning, but we still do it.
Mm,
If you can do that,
yeah,
walk down the stairs, get in the car, go shopping, walk around, get into the gym, walk around with the kids, grandkids, wherever it is, you're winning. Because all this stuff I'm preaching, all this stuff I'm trying to get people to do is all about becoming the fittest, strongest version of yourself possible. And there's no other reason for it. None of us are going to the Olympics. No, they're not calling us for whenever where's the next Olympics in 4 years' time. They're not calling us. No, that boat sailed 30 years ago. Even when we were doing inter-house sports in ISL, come on, that was for fun. None of us were really athletes. I don't know how many people from our year actually became professional athletes, but I don't know professional people who become professional athletes in their 50s. No chance. So all you're doing here is trying to keep yourself alive and healthy for as long as possible. That's your objective. Yeah. Have I lost
well,
Wiley?
can I ask you a question and then um,
yeah. Go ahead, Olumide.
I mean, I just was curious to know whether the reason why you've not, I mean, one of the reasons, because there could be more than one reason. So
Mm,
perhaps one of the reasons you were not so keen to get back into the gym is because it's more of a medical thing. So you're more overwhelmed by what happened to you medically, especially given what had transpired
yeah.
from a medical point of view. Is that mainly what it is? The conversation you've just had with Muyiwa really shows that you're not really faced by who is. I mean, we've got to a point now where like we just want to do well by ourselves because if we don't do well by ourselves, we really can't do well by other people. And I think at this age, we all know that it's time to start thinking about ourselves.
Absolutely.
I, I'll tell you. I'll tell you what, Alumni. The main reason is actually cold feet.
Cold
And
feet.
I'll tell you what. No, cold feet.
Cold feet. Okay, right. Okay.
Yes. Um, before the incident happened, I was actually quite fit. You know, I walk almost more than a kilometer almost daily because of the nature of my work. You know, and I'm not. I won't say I'm fit. I store my fat in my midsection, and that's
We
why
all do. Yeah.
I go to the gym.
Yeah.
And because of the remoteness of my work, the access to the gym is not as when I'm in Johannesburg, because in the studio up here, the gym that we have is a site gym. Now, when the incident happened, it was when something happens to you and you don't believe it, like, oh my God, me, how the hell did I get here? And all those questions you ask yourself.
Mm.
And eventually, when, thank God, I was able to survive it and I came out of it, the recovery was actually quite slow. But though my cardiologist advised that I must not rush to get back into my usual routine because I really needed to heal properly. Because in as much as I was just trying to get back into my rhythm, you see, going back into the gym, the delay in going back into the gym is more like a am I ready kind of thing than, well, you can't go right now because you have to mentally prepare yourself. I'm trying to mentally prepare myself to go back. You see?
Okay, so just a quick question. How long have you been mentally trying to prepare yourself to go back?
Honestly, since July.
So 4 months.
And yeah, about 4 months, yes. And I know I will eventually do it. I just want to give it an anniversary and say, you know what? All right, the pains have subsided. The awkward feeling is no longer there, which obviously is not going to happen. Because
How do you feel, Wale? How do you feel at the moment, right this very minute? How do you feel?
uh still some pain, all right. Still some awkwardness, still dealing with some mental issues about, you know, the consequence of actually going early. And obviously, I have to listen to Dr. Marks about giving myself about a year or so before I try to get back to my routine. But the main reason, to answer Olumide's question, is the cold feet, the fear of the consequences of starting early, going
Right. So
back early.
what's your cardiologist said in terms of when you can go back? Have you been given a schedule, or have they said it's okay?
No, it didn't. I have an appointment every month.
Okay.
All right. And they run checks and you do some CT scans, some X-rays just to check if the healing is progressing properly.
Right.
In terms of percentage, I'm probably about 80% or thereabout now. But you can never really get to that 100%. I mean, you can never feel the way you used to feel before. I mean, I used to play soccer up here, play football. There, we used to play football, and I won't say I was fit, but I was playing. So the thing is trying to get that thing back. You miss it, but you can't go back. And Muyiwa, you're right. We're in our 50s now. We're no longer in our 30s. We do not have those capacities and those capabilities anymore.
Recovery is a lot slower now. Yeah.
Yes. So to answer Lumide's question, all right, when one has been through such an experience, you obviously cannot get back your 100%. But those things that you used to do that makes you have the mental mental, how do you say, the mental strength or the mental capabilities that you have, you doubt yourself sometimes.
That's only human. That's only human
Yeah.
because you've been through a major experience, right?
Yeah.
You're
So
only being human, being tentative, going back to what you used to do. But if you
no,
remember, the first thing I said to you was, if you want to go back into the gym, get clearance from your medical professional, and make sure you find a fitness professional who's qualified to give you a program you could do on your own or to guide you through your recovery. So if you
yeah,
tick all those boxes, it becomes a lot easier to make the progression back into what you were doing. I'm not saying it's going to be the same level, but start heading in that direction. So once you've got the all clear, find someone who can design a program based on what you're going through. And then little by little, you get to a point where you're self sufficient and you can do it yourself. But I come back to the point I keep making, just go back once you've been cleared. Don't, if say for instance, you go and see your cardiologist tomorrow's Monday, and they say it's all clear. I'd go into the gym the next morning. If they say it's okay.
you know the thing. Sorry to interrupt you, Muyiwa. The thing about my cardiologist apparently does not really support that I go back.
Why?
Well, he says that human, I don't know, maybe it's a human behavior thing. You really, maybe it's me. Sometimes you do not know where how to mark your limits. Let me give you my normal routine. So I walk into the gym. I spend minimum of an hour, right? I do some cardios and I play squash. I do some benching, some weight training. Then I go into the sauna, sweat it out, get a shower and get out. That's my normal routine.
Right.
And within that particular period, I do it sometimes 3 times a week, sometimes 4 times a week. But when I moved up to the mountains here on site, obviously we didn't have a squash court on site, but I still try to spend that hour and try to replace those things with other things. Like I do quite a bit of cardio. I do some running, I do some weight training, some you go around the machines and all. And that in itself, which it shaped or changed the usual routine that I used to have.
Right.
And it made me want to do more than I was doing before because I didn't have access to all the other resources and equipment and a trainer that I had in Johannesburg. You see, so I kind of blamed that as part of, and again, I walk around because I'm in construction, I build roads. So I do a lot of walking around. Sometimes I walk 2 kilometers in a day, just during the day. So those are some of those routines that I have that I'm afraid to go back to. Not because I'm not ready or maybe, but because I'm scared to do it again. You see. So that is the answer to Lumide's question. Cold feet.
Okay.
Cold
So
feet.
I come back to the points I've made before, which is when it comes to cardio, you get to a certain age where the high intensity stuff is not a good idea. So you're
Yes, true.
like that. I think you need to accept that's gone. Squash is gone.
Yes.
So what you need to focus more on is a sort of cardio that doesn't put you at risk. Yeah. So
How do you recognize those that don't put you at risk? How do you recognize that?
So there's a few terms in fitness that people who train will probably know. So high intensity interval training, things like running, sprinting, interval sprints, the workout regime I've mentioned before, insanity, squash, that's all high intensity stuff. Low intensity steady state cardio, LISS, is basically cardio you do where your heart rate stays at the same level, but you still break a sweat. So it's like walking uphill at a very slow pace, or swimming, or using a cross trainer at high resistance or low speed. Things that will still get your heart rate up, but gradually and keep it at a steady tick. So what you don't want to do is do anything that will take your heart rate from, say, for instance, 65 to 180 in about a minute. That doesn't do you any good. So what you want to do is build up your heart rate to a decent level, not too high, keep it there, come back down, do a recovery 5-10 minutes, and you're done. So my advice would be, based on the people I've trained before who've had issues with cardiac issues as well, is focus more on weight training and spend 10, 15 minutes doing low intensity cardio. And then after all that, because this is basically my routine, I'm telling you, and we're all the same age here. I do weights, do cardio, and I sit in the sauna for 15, 20 minutes because it helps recovery on your blood vessels.
Yeah.
So the sauna is excellent. I recommend the sauna to anyone who trains because it just really improves your recovery. So
yeah,
once you've got clearance to say you can go back into the gym, take your time. There's no rush. And savor the fact that you've actually, again, this is something people don't realize. Where those of us who get the chance to go into the gym are lucky. I know people who'd like to be able to go into the gym, but for some reason the other can't. So what you need to do is savor the experience. Go in there at your own tempo and do what you need to do. Ignore what's going on around you. If you need help, like I said, ask for help, but make sure you've been cleared to go back in there to start with.
Yeah.
And,
thanks
and with your cardiologist, they talk to you about things like nutrition, recovery, sleep, stress, hydration.
Yeah. So
these are all
those. I got a whole lecture of that.
Good.
And those are, and in fact, and what my experience is, you get all that complete change in trajectory, all right? But it's a direct opposite of trying to get back into the gym. You're going to change your diet, no more red meat, no sugar, no salt, blah, 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 blah.
And
then they tell you, and then it's the direct opposite of going back to the gym.
So I'm one of those
from my experience.
Well, I'm one of those trainers who advocates eat what you want, but with moderation.
Yes.
So over the years I've done this, this is even my journey. When you tell someone not to eat something they enjoy, what do you think they do?
We eat. Yes.
They'll lie to you about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what they'll do is they'll say, yeah, I'll do that. And then a month's time, when the weight's not dropping, you start asking the serious question, my friend, are you being honest with me here? So what I say to people is, so one of my biggest gripes is always, one of my biggest problems for me was things like, if I open the pack of digestive biscuits, there's 20 biscuits in the pack. I'm not lying. I used to eat all 20.
Yes, those hobnobs are tempting. I know what you mean.
Yeah. So, or if we order a pizza, I will eat the whole pizza. So here's what I do. I found these little biscuits. They come in individual packs of 3. I'm serious. That's how I had to control it. So if I eat those 3, that's it. Done.
Yeah.
And if we order a pizza, we order enough pizza for 2 of us and we finish it. But if they've got a special offer, you think, but we can get 2. How does that end? Exactly. So what you do is you eat what you want, but you put checks and balances in place to make sure you don't overdo it. You start tracking your calories. You start measuring portions. One of the things I say to my African, Asian, and Caribbean clients is this: we eat a lot of carbs, a lot of carbs. Yeah, we eat a lot of fried food. Now, it's difficult to go from eating all that to not eating it. So get yourself a little Tupperware bowl, measure it into that one bowl, and then over time you know what the portion size is. That's it, done. That's your diet done. So you're still eating the same things you used to eat, but now it's in moderation. Yeah. Then you start thinking about things like water. How much water do I drink in a day? 2 to 3 liters for the average adult. How many steps am I doing? How many days do I go to the gym? So it's all a package. You see what I mean?
No, I get it. It's I'm learning it, honestly. And believe me, I tell you, it's difficult, man. It is hard.
Difficult, but
it's hard.
It has to be done. I can't stress that enough. While it has to be done. It has to be, because unfortunately we're moving less as we get older. We're more comfortable. We're not running after downfall bosses, or we're not running after mulwers or whatever we used to when we were teenagers. We don't do that anymore. We're all grown men. We're all grown women. Some of us have got chauffeurs. Some of us have got chefs. So we're not doing as much as we used to. And one of the biggest things I say to people who move over to the Western world is, you're not sitting in that climate where you're sweating buckets after you finish eating. So be very careful eating that kind of food that you used to 30, 40 years ago, because you won't burn it off as easily as you used to. And also your metabolism starts slowing down as you get older. So factor that in as well. Your portions have to be smaller, and you need to train more sensibly as you get older. You have to. It's just that simple.
Well, I hear you, Muyiwa, honestly. And I tell you, I've heard all that before. It's just self-control, believe me.
Well, that part there, that's a mental thing. It
Yeah.
literally is. Because sometimes it takes a huge scare, almost like what you've just been through, for people to realize I need to sort things out. And like I said,
Yeah.
she might have at 35, 36, whenever it was. And I'm sat there thinking, how am I going to explain to someone that at my age I'm having health issues in a
Yeah,
country
true.
where you've got access to all the information to tell you what you have to do to keep yourself healthy and fit?
No, thanks a lot, man.
Listen,
well,
let's
kind of, it,
talk to me there. He can give you my details. We can talk offline if you need any further help. Because what I don't want is for people to sit here and listen to this and think, was this the Wale and Muyiwa show for 1 hour? So
no, it's,
I know,
I
some people will
appreciate
find
it, man.
this. A lot of people will find this quite informative and handy if they listen to it later on. But what I want to stress is, if anyone listens to this afterwards and thinks, you know what, I've got some questions I want this guy to answer for me, Olumide or Deji will tell you how to contact me. My business name is up there anyway. But the key thing
Yeah,
is, and I said this before you came online, Wale, if one person listens to this or joins this and takes one bit of information from it, I'm happy with that. One person. And I've always said to people, I didn't get into this to make money. If I wanted to make money, I'd have stayed an accountant, because I don't make a lot of money out of this. I guarantee you, is that you might see my videos and it looks like I'm raking it in. I'm not. The key thing is I got into this to help people not make the same mistakes I made, and to help people find the information a lot easier than I did. It is a lot easier to find stuff online now, but the problem is there's information overload now. If you Google health, you'll probably find a million articles, but which ones do you believe? What I'm saying here is believe the one bit of information coming from the guy who's exactly the same as you guys are. I'm the same age as you. We've got the same cultural background. I've been through the same fight a lot of people have to try and find the information that works for my lifestyle, for my age, for my demographic, for my culture. Trust me, I've trained everyone from, like I said, teenagers to 80-something-year-olds. I've tried everything that works. The simple things are what work. It sounds cliched, but it's the simple things. But you just need to exercise self-control and take ownership, because none of this is going to be done for you. You have to do it yourself. Yeah.
well, so true. Thanks a lot, Muyiwa. I mean, I'm glad I joined this. At least I was able to learn something, no matter how minute it is, add to the information that I have, and I believe it will help. I hope
And
that
good, listen,
anyone
good
else.
luck.
Thanks a lot, man.
And whatever you do, don't think anyone in the gym is actually watching you. Go in there and do your thing. Ask for help if you
Yeah.
need help. Some of the best friends I've made over the last 25 years were in the gym. There's two couples me and my wife go out for dinner with once a month. I met the guys in the gym randomly. Randomly, some of the best relationships I've formed were in gym. So trust me, it's not as intimidating as you think it is. You've been in the gym before anyway, so you know how it works. You just need to put that first foot in there and take it from there. Yeah?
All right, man. Thanks a lot. This helped.
Like I said, if anybody else wants to contact me and has got questions offline, let me know. But as I said to Olumide, because I wake up at 4:30. I'm getting close to my bedtime.
Honestly, it's been really, really just a conversation between the two of you has been such an eye opener. I like the way Wale actually came in.
Yeah.
Really just open himself up to really try and get answers to what he needs to. And I think in Muyiwa I think you've really hit a lot of the nail on the head in your way of, I mean, not to critique anyone or to say anything, but I just, my own opinion on the way, the each one teach one today has gone, because what we try to do is to do it in different formats, in different ways. So when what came along, we just did like a question and answer with him. When Emma came along, we did something different as well. But then most of it has always been they will come and they will present, they will have their slides, and they will talk about it. Well, I feel like the angle that it actually transpired was what everybody expected. But I feel like it's very interesting the way Wale has come on and not, just the cold feet that is talked about, and it sort of touched on various different factors that would cause the cold feet. But then the way you've kind of like really giving him like kind of like check with your medical practitioners.
Yeah.
Don't be too. I think if you put your first foot in,
Yeah.
and then you see that maybe your mental thinking about how you're feeling, because clearly you have medical people on your side who are really very in the right way, Wale. But I feel like in as much as you know that they're doing the right thing and you feel right, health wise in terms of you recuperating, getting better, it's still not enough to battle with mental demons.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like if you like what Muyiwa said now, if you put your foot in, you know what I mean? I feel like there's only five of us. We can just kind of like just piggyback a little bit on what Muyiwa said and what you sort of laid out and opened up about. I feel like if you just put your foot in, especially seeing that you're somebody that loves the gym. I mean, I've really hardly ever been to the gym, but somebody who is passionate about being in the gym and you clearly still want to go back at some point, you know, I think what Muyiwa is saying is probably something that you're going to try at some point
Yeah,
anyway.
absolutely.
And it's kind of like the law.
I am going to go back.
Good.
I sometimes you just need that mental push.
Yeah, you do.
Sometimes.
And I have
that
to
mental
say
push.
something. Sorry, I just got to say something quickly. So I've been thinking about how this was going to go, and this was not my plan at all. This has gone so organically well, much more better than I thought it would. I had my notes. I've got my other screen here. I've actually covered about 75 to 90% of my topics without following the trail, the plan I had in mind.
I'm sure.
Yeah. So Wale coming in was it just literally the timing was brilliant. The topic he's brought up is excellent. But while covering his topics, I've actually covered literally everything I wanted to cover anyway. And
I can assure you I learned quite a bit, believe me. Because
I'm pleased to hear that. I'm pleased to hear that.
So yeah, and again, honestly, when just like you said, when you have such intimate discussions like this, there's quite a bit that you take from it that you can't really get from even your gym guy, or your doctor. Because they will tell you the clinicals.
Yeah.
The gym guy will tell you the gym part, but you don't really get the advice that you really need. And you're right, Mewa, you go on the internet and you see 1 in a million and you do not know which one fits you or which
Whatever
one.
you do, don't ever Google your symptoms. I say that to everybody because your symptoms,
big mistake. It's scary. You do that, it's scary, man.
It is
you
scary.
would not even step
don't
out of your house.
Ever. And
don't ever do that.
Unfortunately, with the medical professionals, because they've only got an allocated amount of time to talk to you.
Yeah, true.
That's it.
No, my cardiologist is fantastic. He's quite experienced, old man, been in the business for quite a bit. So he's seen quite a bit. But even at that, it's limited because you're just one of the patients that he talks to.
Exactly. Yeah.
You do not have, that personal one-on-one touch with somebody with whom understands exactly the dynamics of what you're going through.
Yeah.
So that you really don't find.
But yeah, like I said, if there's anything else you want to ask me, got my details, drop me a line. I'm always happy to help. And I will follow
That's fantastic.
I will follow your journey from now until however long it takes you to get back into the gym.
No,
and listen.
I'm glad, man. I'm really glad. Thanks a lot, man. I look forward to that.
Supporting each other. You're welcome. This is all about supporting each other in any shape or form we can. And I like to think there's no airs and graces here. This is essentially an extended family. All of us here have known each other for more than 35, 40 years. Think about it. When were we in ISL? We're talking the 80s here. They're grown men who are probably presidents and prime ministers who weren't born when we started these relationships. So I'd like to think,
Tanzania.
I'd like to think that we can build. Sorry?
There's an African president. President. I don't know which country, but not Tanzania. It's a woman who's a Tanzanian president. But there's a guy that's just been sworn in, like not 37. So you're right.
37. There you go. I'm pretty sure I got into ISL in 1988. No, no,
1980,
no.
you
I went
left
to
in
1988,
1988.
82, 83, 84.
82.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. So 40 years ago.
Wow, that's quite a bit, right? 40
Yeah.
years.
40 years ago.
Some 40-year-olds are grandparents now.
Exactly. So yeah, it's a bad relationship. So we can't be brutally honest with each other. I don't know who else we can be honest
And
with.
then what's the point? I agree with
Yeah.
you, man. Right.
So yeah, keep that positive mindset that you will get back in there. Once you've been cleared, get back in there. Even if you don't want to go back into the gym, get yourself some dumbbells at home and walk. It doesn't have to be a gym.
Yeah.
It just has to be back to training, back to exercising, physical activity, back to strengthening your muscles, back to putting your body through some sort of duress under in a controlled environment. And that's it. That's all you need. Yeah.
No, I get it. Thanks a lot, man.
Yeah. This is, like I said earlier, it's panned out completely different to what I had planned, but it's worked perfectly.
I think it's nice to have like a case. Sorry, Muwale, to like when you have like somebody who has lived something that the presenter is talking about.
Yeah.
So that I think, and if they're willing to open up, because not everybody.
Yeah.
No, opening up is advantageous for me because I can say I got free advice. People pay lots of money to get such advice, you know. So I didn't have a problem with it at all. I've been wanting to talk to somebody apart from my cardiologist and my friend at the gym, or maybe my spouse or my friend. Somebody who's I've been looking for that opportunity, and when I saw the topic, that's why I joined in. I'm not always available to join or the each one teach one programs that we have, but this one is actually quite relevant to me.
Yeah.
To everybody.
And I think that's what Alumni pointed out in the part previously as well. It's not going to be for everyone, but even if it's just for one person, it serves its purpose.
No, I think this one was for me. Believe me, I tell you guys, the information that I get from you, Muyiwa, it's going to help me going forward. Believe me.
I'm glad to hear that.
By a point of correction, it's for everybody.
I know.
Including
but sometimes people will think, I don't have time for this. I've got more important things to worry about. But I started off by stressing that your health is important. So without your health, you've got nothing else. You can't help anyone else if you're not healthy. I know it sounds cliched, but it's the truth.
Well, that's true.
I think it's for everybody. Whether we want to believe it or we don't, we want to be in denial about it. And I think a lot of people know, you know, what we were talking about Muyiwa earlier. I think a lot of people know that it is for everybody. We do know. It's one thing to like listen to it. It's one thing to be on the platform. It's another thing to have this information, this amount of information. I think the conversation between Muyiwa and Wale is just done justice to this particular topic, that when people then go back and watch this, they would really feel like, oh, I wish I was actually on the platform to actually look. But then, you know, it doesn't really matter whether they're on the platform anyway. But I think that the material is there, and you're also willing, Muyiwa, to actually speak to people later, and also your openness and the way you're really quite, I don't know, there's just a certain kind of, you're really, you know, leaving yourself open to people to come to, you know, you're embracing people. Not that anybody else hasn't embraced people. Do you know what I mean? But there's just something different about. I don't know whether it's because of the topic and also because of the line of work this is. Maybe that's why I think this will move people more. Yeah. And people will begin to think. I mean, to be honest, I knew that this was gonna. I didn't know it was gonna go this way, because you know I didn't know Wale was gonna be here, because Wale had the conversation between you to happen. I didn't know it was gonna go like that, and you said it as well. You didn't know it was going to go like this. But however way it had went, however way it would have went, it would have gone. It would have still been, an episode that would have still got people interested. I think people go back and watch. And the good thing is that the video will be there for watch.
Yeah,
and,
absolutely.
Yeah,
like I said, it's not what I expected it to be. I didn't know how it was going to go, and just to be clear, I didn't pay Wale to come on, so to make this make this look better than it was.
Oh my God.
But yeah, this has been brilliant, and it's been amazing catching up with people I hadn't spoken to in 30 years, 40 years, whatever it is.
My
And
God, Muyiwa, it's I don't know, maybe it's nostalgic considering talking to you because I tell you, the your face that I have in my head was that face that we had in ISL, and I tell
with
you, it's
hair.
wonderful seeing you again.
With hair.
Yeah.
I've been bald since I was in Osu in 1993. So yeah, it's changed a lot in the last 30 years. But yeah, it's
look, it's wonderful catching up with you
yeah,
guys.
absolutely. I've absolutely enjoyed this. And Alumni, thank you very much for reaching out and also actually talking me into doing this, because I always remember the first conversation we had months ago, and I was like, what's all this wahala this guy's giving me? And even when I spoke to you a couple of weeks ago and I looked at the football schedule and realized we were at home to Liverpool, I'm like, how am I going to
You're home to Liverpool?
Yeah, I'm an Arsenal fan. I've just come straight from the game. You know, I hope you appreciate this. I've literally, I left about 5 minutes before the end to get the train to get home and set everything up. When I was texting Lumi, I was on the train home.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
How did the game go?
It was 2-0, 2-2 Arsenal Liverpool.
Wow.
Yeah, but listen, it's been worth it, and like I said, I've managed to impact one person, and that's all I needed. That's all I needed. Like I said,
No, that is the objective
Point
of this.
correction, more than one person.
Okay. I've impacted everybody.
How do you feel? Based on, I know you came in a bit later, but how's your experience? I know you're still going to go back and watch it if you will, but how have you felt? And do you have anything you want to share? If not, absolutely. Just thanks for coming. But I don't know if you wanted to say anything. How do you feel? And then we'll ask Deji as well, and then we can see whether Muyiwa has anything else to advise us on. So how do you feel? How do you feel about the topic? Is it something that you've always wanted, like Wale always wanted to get somebody to talk to you about? Or just hear somebody speak about Jumoke?
I just want to say a very big thank you to Muyiwa and Wale for that discussion. Yeah. All of us at this time, we need this information. And a very big thank you once again. And I've gained a lot. I'm very grateful.
Thank you. Thank you.
But let's ask the president. Deji has not said a word aside from when we started, when you and him.
Is he still there?
No, he's still there.
It's there, but then it's probably on the road.
Yeah, I think he said he was in between. He was driving in between somewhere in Texas, so he's probably just listening in and can't join us. But yeah, listen, if it's a case of anyone's got questions afterwards, like I said, feel free to drop me a line. I think this is an excellent platform, and I'll try and pay more attention going forward to see when the next one comes up. But yeah, it's been great. Like I said, I've covered all I wanted to. I've made all the impact I'd hoped to make, and yeah, really pleased.
Wonderful. Okay, now is there anything else anybody wanted to add to it before we wrap up at an hour 10?
Again, I just want to say thank you for putting this together. Like I said, I agree with you. Okay, it's for everyone, but each of us, we've taken something out of it. Me especially. So I'm actually quite grateful. Thanks a lot for doing this, guys. Thank you.
Yeah, same here. It's nice to impact someone positively, be it a small amount, be it something they will use for the rest of their lives. I'm glad it's had some benefit. But yeah, thank you for having me on.
Fantastic. So, call it a day. Hopefully, we'll see all of you again.
Yeah.
Very soon. Muyiwa and Wale. Hopefully to see you soon.
Yeah.
Come now and then. More time, Chief. Yeah. So yeah.
Thanks a lot, guys.
Thank you very much.
Once again.
Enjoy the rest of your evening or day or whatever time zone you're in.
Muyiwa, have a good evening.
You too. Bye.